The newest Pixar movie, Hoppers, is out, and it is one of the funniest Pixar movies to date. But does it live up to some of the emotional highs that Pixar is known for? Thank you for joining me for this review, and if you love discussing or ranking movies and TV, I really hope that you'll subscribe to the channel, like this video, and hopefully watch and like future videos. It really helps the channel grow. I also hope that you follow Popcorn Heist on Instagram, where we have reels and trivia on Tuesday and polls on Saturday. A Pixar movie always hits, and I was really happy to see and now talk about Hoppers. I will be discussing spoilers from Hoppers, so if you haven't seen it yet, this is your spoiler warning. I will be releasing a short review without spoilers, so keep an eye out for that. But before we get into the review, at Popcorn Heist, I choose a quote per video, and the quote of today's video is, "Trust is like a dam. It's going to leak sometimes, but we just gotta patch it up," which is said by George, the king of the mammals in Hoppers. This quote really stood out to me. I just love this quote. I think it's a cute quote about trust and a good way of putting how trust can be built and broken and rebuilt. And I think it's just applicable to real life and applicable to some of the themes that the movie tries to get across. Hoppers is basically about our main character, Mabel, and her trying to save an area of nature called the Glade. Her and her grandma used to spend a lot of time there, and now the mayor, Jerry, is trying to build a highway over it and through it. Mabel stumbles across technology that allows her to transfer her consciousness into a robot beaver, and she's able to interact with other animals in the animal kingdom, so she tries to rally the animals into protecting the Glade. I thought Hoppers was a cute movie, an enjoyable watch. I definitely enjoyed myself seeing it in the theaters. And I thought the best part was just enjoying meeting the different animals and seeing how the personality of each species and each character was built out, and kind of seeing how the governmental structure of the animals was with the different kingdoms and the different leaders. I thought that was a cute way of handling the animal kingdom. The most important and most enjoyable leader being King George, the beaver king of the mammals. He was probably my favorite character. At first, I thought he was a little bit annoying, but he's really charming and he really grows on you. I was a little bit confused about how George was the king of the mammals, but not all of his subjects were mammals. I guess they kind of explain it because they're all refugees from different places that were displaced by humans, but I was just a little bit confused about that at first when they started introducing the other leaders. I also think how they structured the animal kingdom led to some really comedic moments. The whole movie was really comedic. I think it was one of the more comedic Pixar movies, especially in recent memory. I was really laughing throughout the entire movie. I really loved the scenes where it was switching between the human and the animal perspective, and not everyone could understand each other. And I loved the way they kind of changed the look of the animals and the way they were animated to imply to the audience who could understand who. And I thought that was a really inventive way of doing it, and it made for some of the funniest scenes in the movie. There's a few main themes that I caught in this movie, one being, of course, respect for nature, which I think is the most heavy-handed and probably the most successful in the movie. They also touch on the theme of building and breaking and rebuilding trust, and that's in there throughout the movie. I don't feel like it's really successfully followed up on later in the movie. They also touch on the theme of there's good in everyone and everyone deserves a chance to make the right decision. I feel like that theme is applied to some characters and not others. It's definitely applied to the mayor, Jerry, and he has an opportunity and does the right thing after working with Mabel and decides not to build his highway. I don't necessarily feel like that theme is applied to Titus, the eventual insect king. I guess they do give him a small chance to do the right thing and he doesn't take it, but I feel like they don't hit home that he is capable of good. So I think it's more successful on hitting on some themes than others. There are some emotional moments. There's definitely some touching moments between Mabel and George. I think the main emotional thrust is when they harp back to Mabel's relationship with her grandmother. Pixar loves a good emotional moment with a grandparent or an old person, and it definitely works on me. And right when I saw the grandma in this movie, I was like, oh, she's a goner and they're gonna get me. And it gets you in the beginning and it keeps harping back to it and back to it. So it definitely has those themes and those emotional moments sprinkled throughout the film, but I don't know that it's as impactful or really sticks with you as much as some other Pixar movies like Up or Soul or Inside Out. So I think it sacrificed some of those things to be more comedic and more of a wild and crazy concept. And the concept of this movie in itself, in that Mabel can become a beaver, is really crazy in the first place. I think this movie leans into that, and as the movie goes on, it just gets crazier and crazier and crazier. To a certain extent, you kind of have to suspend your belief. That chase scene on the highway when the apex predator, the shark, is like lifted out of the water with the birds is a crazy scene, absolutely crazy. And it kind of reminded me of Finding Dory when like all the animals are driving the truck. And in the same way, it's a fun and funny sequence, but you just have to suspend belief a little bit in order to enjoy it. And that's how the final sequence of the movie is as well. It gets really crazy and really leans into the craziness of the concept as a whole. And although that's not necessarily bad, I think that's what the movie was going for. It might just not be the most enjoyable from my perspective. But I do enjoy the resolution of the problem in that Jerry is redeemed and Mabel was able to save the Glade. I do think it's a bittersweet ending that she is able to spend time with all the animals in the Glade, but is no longer able to understand them. I think that was a good way of taking the movie. I think it would have been weird if she was like still able to transfer consciousness into an animal. And I think it makes sense that the animals have to get to know Mabel as a human now. I love the nod to Up with the talking dog collar. Maybe they can tailor that to be able to let beavers talk, and Mabel can get one of those for George. The animation in this movie is good, as it always is in a Pixar movie, but I don't think it was as unique or inventive or developed its own style in comparison to a movie like Turning Red. So I don't think it stands out among the pack of Pixar movies. All in all, I would give this movie a 3 out of 5 popcorn buckets. Definitely a fun time. I really enjoyed my time seeing it in the theater. And there was a lot of cute moments with all the different animals and really funny moments. I thought this was one of the funnier Pixar movies. Definitely one of the funniest in recent memory, but I don't think it necessarily hit all of its themes successfully, and it doesn't deliver on most of the emotional moments that really define many of the Pixar movies, so I just don't think it's as memorable or stands out among the pack of Pixar movies. Thank you for joining me for this review, and if you enjoyed this video, I really hope that you'll subscribe to the channel and join me for more reviews, more rankings, and more movie and TV content.